Hi, welcome to Materia Medica again, and in this lecture we're going to have a look at stimulants which are used for the cold depressed tissue state. Stimulant herbs are warming and dispersing in nature. They're required for the cold depressed tissue state where there's compromised vitality, lack of response to change in the external and in the internal environment. Stimulants are often also restorative, eliminative, decongestant, antiseptic, or mood lifting. The cold depressed tissue state can result from energy depletion, endocrine imbalance, inadequate nutrition, or behavioral or emotional inhibition. Signs include cold skin and extremities, a pale dry complexion, and a low and slow pulse. And patients might experience fatigue, lack of concentration, emotional depression, bacterial infections, crampy pains, or sluggish digestion. Some or all of these may be present. What you've got is a deficient symptom response. Now, we know from the physiomedicalists, Thurston being one of them, that the vital force is always resistive, eliminative, and reconstructive. So symptoms are an expression of that vital force. When you have a deficient symptom response, there's a failure of beneficial self-protection, which ties in with an immune deficiency, amongst others. Sorry about the poor continuity, I'm trying to get the camera right. Anyway, the cold depressed tissue state can sometimes be due to sympathetic nerve deficiency. In this case, you'll have external cold, a lack of responsiveness, fatigue, maybe a chronic fatigue syndrome, vagueness, indecision, excess micturition with pale urine, loose bowels, and atonic diarrhea. If instead there's parasympathetic excess, you have a more internalized cold, still get fatigue, but you're more likely to get smooth muscle cramps, maybe painful menstruation, there'll be excess mucus, and digestive disturbances, for example, IBS. So, how does the stimulant action work? Well, one way is through direct sympathetic action on the autonomic nervous system. Stimulants are stimulating and relaxing to all the tissues. They're warming and dispersing. So, heat disperses, it separates. Secondary actions of stimulants include restorative, it can be eliminating, and decongesting. You have to be cautious with stimulants. There must be a significant vital reserve in order for heating remedies to be effective, because they act by stimulating that endogenous heat production, thermogenesis, rather than by directly heating the patient. So you need the patient needs to have a good reserve. If you use stimulants when the vital reserve is low, then that can cause exhaustion because there's energy depletion there. So patients haven't really got the energy to be stimulated. So you must build up these patients first with restoratives, and we'll come on to restoratives in a different lecture. So looking at the herbs now, types of stimulant herbs. First category is the aromatics. These are often pungent, sulphurous, for example garlic, horseradish, spicy, like capsicum, rich in volatile oils like rosemary and lots of others in the Lamiaceae, and other very fragrant herbs. These aromatics have a as well as being stimulant, have a digestive carminative action. So carminative meaning that it dispels wind, it settles spasm in the gut. Not to be confused with calmative, C-A-L-M-A-T-I-V-E, which doesn't exist. It's an invention by students. Aromatic stimulants lift the mood and they stimulate the mind. They're often used as adjuncts, catalysts and facilitators because they assist dispersal of the energy and heat to all parts of the body. So a good example of that would be ginger. I could add ginger to just about any prescription and it'll sort of tell the other herbs where to go. Another category is fragrant bitters. These are similar in nature to the aromatics, but they're also bitter, often intensely so. So as well as some of those other effects of being digestive and carminative, they are also significantly alterative, eliminative, and often they kill worms. They're vermifuge. So the Artemisia species would be a good example of this. Juglans species, which we'll come on to when we look at alteratives. Aromatic conifers like thuja. These are all stimulating herbs. A lot of antiseptic or immunostimulating herbs are you would class as stimulating. So thyme, echinacea, baptisia. Direct nervous system stimulants like central nervous system stimulants like the caffeine containing and xanthine alkaloid containing herbs. Sympathetic nervous system stimulants like ephedra. These can give a temporary lift, cup of tea, shot of coffee, but they require an adequate vital reserve to have any long-term stimulating effect. Hence the crash after a night on the coffee. So that's the end of part one. I'll do part two.